paid streaming service there if you want to tune in. Women's basketball taking on DePaul. That one's on ACC Network proper. That is at 4 p.m. in the KFC Yum Center tomorrow. Monday, Tuesday are empty. Men's basketball continues whatever they're calling a season so far. On Wednesday, they're taking on Coppin State. Maybe they can win that one. It's pretty bad that we've started. Look, last night was sour. Okay, so that's where I am. Thursday, swimming taking on Ohio State in a one-on-one meet up there in Columbus. Diving is at the IUPUI Diving Invitational Thursday through Saturday, and women's basketball will take on Bellarmine at home on Thursday at 7 p.m. That one will be streaming on ACC Network Extra. Friday, swimming continues at Columbus, and that gets us to Saturday. I don't think anybody from UofL is participating in the cross-country championships based on what I saw today. So anything after that would be after we air on Saturday. Big one there being the volleyball match against Pittsburgh. Social media, I'm best case scenario, BST case scenario. Paulie is at Cardinal Couple. Jeff is at Card Couple Radio. Daryl's at Daryl Faust 4. And Jared is at Mr. Anderson Jared. That'll get you through it. And that's all I got, Paul.
And that's what you had. And you did it quite well, sir. Had the chance to get down to talk to Matt Paris the other day on campus. As you unfamiliar with Matt, he is the actual SID for a couple of the sports that we cover, women's soccer and also women's basketball. And the nature of my visit was to secure a couple of things. I wanted to see if I could still get my parking for underneath the Yum Center this year. I go into 3rd Street Garage and park there, and was able to do that. And for the 4th straight year, they've changed the way that you get in there. UofL never standing still. They gave out individual tickets 1 year for you, and if you wanted to park down there, you presented your ticket to the nice little ladies over there at the 3rd Street entrance. 1 year they had you in Cards Pass. Cards Pass, a device that you have on your phone that you can show people you're going into the football game or the basketball game, I suppose. I don't know, because I don't have either of those tickets anymore. They also put my parking on Cards Pass. I would assume, do they use it, Jeff, for volleyball still? Or I don't know.
They use it for volleyball tickets, but not for volleyball parking passes. They do use it for women's basketball parking passes.
Okay. Well, they don't anymore.
Well, they do for me. Mine is.
Oh, well, okay, for media. Well,
Yeah,
you don't have
not
the
for
media
media,
one,
maybe, but yeah.
They gave me one of those hanging placards this year, which looks a lot like if, for example, you have a handicapped driver's license and you hang it from the inside of your window. One of those blue ones that took around the rearview mirror. They now have this in the form for University of Louisville media coverage in the KFC Yum Center.
Yeah, which is like the parking passes for volleyball are done. So, yeah.
Okay. I kind of like the idea.
It can be easier. I mean, they're all fine. I just wish I'd stick to one.
That would be the key, and the moral of the story is maybe they've found a home now.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they just stuck with one way of doing it. Yeah.
And I did talk Daryl at length with him too. You are secured once again for Witherspoon Garage, so you'll be able to do that when you come down to the games.
Awesome. Thank you. Looking forward to that. I think we got one next week.
I believe we do, yeah, because you're going to be with me on the weeknight games.
Yeah.
So, and Sonny will be in for the weekend games, but I'm sure you'll still be out there probably just doing other things. But if there's a seat down with us, come down and sit with us for sure. And then we'll talk about things further down the road if they develop, or you may possibly be doing a lot of coverage in my absence, but we'll see about that. But the Cards, as we mentioned, are one game in, and There have been a lot of people talking back and forth on that. We'll get into that a little bit later on. I think what we do want to talk about is the women's basketball team and defeating Cincinnati, a 77-59 win over the Bearcats. This took place Monday night. It was actually Jared who wrote the article at Cardinal Couple about it, and I do recommend that you read Cardinal Couple every day and go back and read his article. He, of course, not with us today, having relatives in town. But hey, the Cards went up there to Fifth Third Arena. Got a nice boost from a couple of our readers since we didn't have a photographer up there. We had one of our readers and a fan of Cardinal women's basketball take photos and send them to me. Wasn't that nice?
Nice. That's very
And
nice.
if you look at the Tuesday article, Daryl, you will see Karen Nolan's photos there. So I wanted to give her a shout out for doing that. It was very nice of her to do so. But, kids, I'll take an 18-point win for the season opener. I have no problem with it.
Not bad.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I believe that one was at 6, and then the men's game started at 7, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, got the update of Louisville losing to Cincinnati 15-14 after the first quarter, which was suboptimal. And then got the update that they were ahead by quite a bit at halftime, which was much better. So, third and fourth quarter, second half, fairly even. Louisville won the second half by just 4, but 22-7 second quarter really put it away for Louisville, and good to jump out ahead early in that second after not a great start, trailing 15-14 after the first quarter, and put a stamp on that game and kind of hold from there.
This one was go ahead, Daryl.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think about for this one and the first quarter and just this team trying to get their feet under them and figure out who's going to be the leader vocally, and then also offensively. The names that obviously will stand out will be Olivia or Marissa Russell for me as being the leader of this team. But it did take a little bit for them to sync up and get some offense going. But like you said, that big second quarter really put it away for them, and it never really was in danger after that.
Louisville kind of started out slow with they actually went on a 7-0 run to take an early lead, like 7-2 or something, but the Bearcats came right back with a 7-0 run of their own to go up 15-14 and to close out the opening quarter. And we were being a little tentative. I think we were being a little bit unsure of what exactly Wall was wanted when we were doing offensive sets and such. But in the time that passed between the first and second quarter, I think Mr. Walls made abundantly clear what he wanted. Louisville jumping out and scoring the next 8 points to start the quarter.
And that's not uncommon for Louisville women's basketball early season, right? I mean, that's been kind of the tradition over the years. But
and you're true in that aspect, and when you multiply that by the number of new players that are on the squad this year, I think out of last year, when you take a look at it, and the starters that we had, we've only got one back.
Yeah, definitely magnifies that problem for sure.
Yeah, but all experienced ball players, though, at different teams and different leagues and conferences, and know the game. It was just learning each other is one of the things that I think is going to be one of the big tests the Wolves had this year. It's not a lack of talent. It's getting the talent to all play together and play winning basketball.
Yeah, agreed.
And so,
and your two leading scorers for that one were two new players for the Cards. So once I think the two teams or the UofL gets some more games under their belt and those shots will start to fall more. The 3-pointers by Sydney Taylor and Jada Curry, I mean, 2 of 7 and 2 of 5. Give each of those 1 or 2 more, and that score is going to be a little more intimidating. It won't be 77-59. It'll be 97-59.
And if you look back at what each one of those did in their own leagues prior to getting into Louisville, Sydney Taylor was lights out up at UMass from the 3-point range. And was consistently, I think, one of the leaders in their conference up there, and definitely the leader on their team in taking the 3 and making the 3. How will that translate at the ACC play, Daryl?
Right, and she had the most time on the floor out of the rest of the team, probably due to some foul trouble for Olivia, or else she'd probably spend more time on the floor as well. But just like you said, once they get to learn each other more and know where each other's going to be and find their spots and their rhythm, those shots are going to fall, and it might be a little scary for the opponents. Once we get to ACC play, I'd love to see. We've got so much, non-conference play ahead of us, guys, that it's kind of hard to see where we'll be when conference play comes, because conference, these teams in our conference, they're not easy. So we got to get these wins in the non-conference play and get this team rolling. That way, when we get the Virginia Techs and the North Carolinas and what have you, that we are ready to be lights out.
So we got to see our first look at the elf. And what do I mean by the elf? No, not a little green thing running around doing things on the court and on the sidelines or stuff like that. It's the nickname we kind of came up for one of Louisville's new players who came over to us, and it kind of said, I like it in there's paint here and underneath here, and I think I want to play here a lot, Coach. I was very impressed with her first outing game.
Me too.
Yeah, she needed to. Elif Istanbuloglu is who Polly's talking about here. Just so that we can get that out there. She needed to be effective. She got 21 minutes as a true freshman, which is impressive. Nyla Harris, who started in the front court with Olivia Cochran, fouled out with only 16 minutes played. So Elif was on the floor a lot, surprisingly, maybe. Getting more time over Lexia Mobley and HVS. Henny Van Schaik, who only played a total of 10 minutes between the two of them, but she performed well. She was 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 2 of 3 from the floor, finished with 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 fouls, 3 turnovers, but also a block and a steal. So she is one of the players, maybe the only player, that didn't participate in Global Jam, so is a very fresh face to this team, while the rest of the players have gotten some time to play together, and it's good to see her in her first official performance with UofL come out and do pretty well.
I think that some of the skills that she distributed were obviously honed upon and built upon her time playing in Turkey with the various national teams, playing against international competition, things of that nature. Plus, she just seems to have a very, very sound basketball mind. Okay, she's not like your typical freshman who sometimes gets a little deer-eyed, when they're looking at the big crowds and the bright lights and everything and the action. Hell, this is a lot faster than I was used to at Dave's high school. She came in ready. She came in tested, and she came in good to go, Jeff. And I expect to see a lot more of her.
Yeah, and I didn't get to watch this one visually because it was on ESPN Plus, and I don't have that. But certainly her performance was very good for a very new face, as Case pointed out, newer than even the other 6 new faces. So yeah, I mean, that's exciting to see. We've had a fairly good success over the years with international players, and it's great to see that tradition continues of welcoming them in, giving them a place that they can be and be part of a good team together. So it's exciting to see, and I'm hopeful to see for what she's going to produce in the future.
Well, a nice win for the Cards. He did a Fred report on this and gave it a straight out Fred, all capital letters. I don't know if I would have.
E might have struggled a little bit. You think?
Yeah, the effort and efficiency. I mean, we didn't shoot that bad from 3-point range. I guess if you like 29% as a mark, I like to see it usually over 30, but yeah, it's close enough. Okay. One thing we did well is we got points off turnovers, but that's more defensive category, not efficiency. Okay. Unless you want to call it defensive efficiency, that still goes under defense. I'm sorry, it does. But making layups is something, especially with Olivia Cochran. Am I wrong on this? But did it seem like every time Olivia was trying to shoot from 2 feet in, she would brick it off the backboard or bounce it off the rim for the longest time in that game?
She was only 2 of 8 from the floor, so
yeah,
the stats would support the eye test there, I think.
It's got to be those rims in Cincinnati.
It's got to be the Cincinnati rims.
Kenny, loosen the rims. U.S. Bank Arena.
Go there.
Third arena. Sorry.
They need someone named Kenny to loosen the rims. Yep.
Kenny.
In the Third Bank Arena up there, so obviously they didn't make their deposit on time and did not get the rims loosened like they were supposed to. Fifth Third can be a stickler for things like that. I found that over the years. But the Cards will get in a nice win. You take your chances when you listen to another crew call game and ESPN Plus. Although it was a Cincinnati-based announcing group. Don't get me wrong here, okay? They were definitely cheering every move that the Bearcats made and wondering how Louisville was able to get away with things and stuff of that nature. And you just, after a while, you just get to the point where you're kind of like, they got their viewpoint. I wish they'd shut up, though.
Our men's team has had, actually, I'm not going to name them, has had some guys calling their games that I think people could say the exact same about our recent broadcasts. But yeah, the locally streamed games, I think, are always a struggle.
So yeah, and it can be, and I'm sure that. Well, I'll go back a couple years ago when we had a volleyball announcing crew that I wasn't real happy about here in Louisville, but those days have changed, and I think we have a fine crew in there now. Play-by-plays.
We have
and the color commentary.
Yeah.
And no more squeaks and ooks and ox. So that's good. Other things that happened before we get into some of the major things we're going to talk about today. We did have a signing day. We've got announcements from a lot of nice teams here, gang.
Yeah.
I'm kind of just looking through everything here, and women's basketball probably got one of the biggest ones that I was expecting to come on board, and that's in Diana Roberts, who's a 5'10" guard out of San Diego. And she is quick, and she is accurate, and she is, I'm trying to think of a guard I could describe her over that we've had here over the last 10, and her quickness. And some of y'all may remember how fast Brianna Jackson was.
Oh, God, yeah.
She's got Brianna Jackson speed.
Oof.
Yeah. And her shooting, if you remember Erica Carter. What's Erica's?
Late Erica Carter, not early.
Yeah,
Erica
not
Carter.
the freshman Erica Carter. who was 0 for season from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
She did shoot early in her career, but
yeah. As Jeff Wallace will tell you, I love shooters. I prefer makers. Okay, which are you? That we got her out of San Diego. You're going to like this young lady quite a bit, y'all. But so other, soccer signed 8, which indicates that obviously the coaching staff down there has identified the fact that they need some scoring. Okay, we think they have, but only 2 of the 8 that they signed though are forwards.
Well, that's okay. They're really good at playing players out of position.
That's
Well,
true.
yeah, yes, that we are. And as Jeff Snarkley showed us, they are still checking out Haley Van List's old grounds to bring in recruits to Louisville.
Yeah.
Soccer signed one from Winnetouchy, Washington. I just
Yeah,
don't know
you
what
know.
we're trying to accomplish here.
Okay, whatever. I'm fine with it. There's nothing inherent about that city that's bad. I'll
It's a
assume.
beautiful city.
Yeah.
It's the
Town.
apple capital of New York.
Yeah,
Or,
town.
excuse me, Washington. The apple capital.
It's not the only player from Washington that they got a commit or an NLI
Yeah.
from as well with Brooklyn Lee, a defender from Tacoma.
Hmm.
A tall
That's for
defender.
sure.
They signed 2 tall defenders. Grace Maddox is 5'9" from Georgia, and Brooklyn Lee's 5'8". So maybe they'll have some people back there that
Tall.
head the ball away from. Not tall for
Soccer.
tall for a women's soccer player. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that difference in perspective between sports. I'm so used to volleyball and basketball.
5'9". Charity Looper's 5'9", right? She's one of
Right.
the shortest players on the team.
Yeah, she's way undersized as a hitter in general.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They also ending up getting a girl from Louisville Assumption to play soccer. You don't see many soccer players from Assumption make the Cardinal squads. In a lot of other sports you do.
Which is
That's
interesting
rare.
because they've had a decent soccer team, but
Oh, yeah.
But
Anna Grace, a lot of people refer to her as AG in the
Mhm.
high school community. AG is now CARDS. So there you go. That works. But we'll move on into some of the things I know that you'll want to kind of get into today and talk about a little bit.
Can we talk volleyball signing real quick? I got a
Oh,
tidbit
Jeff
on
wants
that too.
Well, okay, we can do that. Yes.
Yeah.
Go there.
So volleyball signed 3. They're all outside hitters, all left side hitters. Ava Utterback out of up in Indiana somewhere. Peyton Peterson out of Iowa, and Nayelis Cabello out of Florida. The same day that signing was, AVCA put out their high school All-American teams, All-American teams. And first team All-American had 2 of those 3 on there. Nayela Cabello and Peyton Peterson were both AVCA high school All-American first team on the same day that their NLIs came into Louisville. So exciting stuff ahead for volleyball there.
Yeah.
As
Is
far as
that good or
class-
something? Jeez.
Yeah. I saw that come out and I went, DBK just reloaded.
That was going to be the kind of question I was going to lead into. Is this on par with our normal stellar recruiting classes?
It may be better than normal.
Wow.
I mean, her recruiting classes have been pretty good, but this one, it's obviously not the biggest class, but it's certainly some very quality players in it. So yeah, it'll be interesting. And as far as we can tell, Ava Utterback is not related to Scott Utterback, the photographer that we all know and love.
Have you asked him?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
And he kind of responded the same way. He says, as far as I know, we're not related. So, yeah.
I think that's as good as we're going to get.
Yeah.
I certainly hope that her quality of playing is as good as Scott's photos are.
Yeah.
That would be a nice thing to see.
Yep.
But definitely some stuff that have been going on as of recent. And then the big one is we're in the NCAA, and we're advancing. How about that?
Mhm.
What sport am I talking about? Quick, who am I talking about?
Women's soccer.
No. Nice kid. So.
Well,
They carry sticks.
Volleyball's not there yet, but probably will be. But yeah, so
They carry sticks, and they play a trigger. Come on, gang, help me out here.
field hockey.
Yes. And a revenge win
Yeah,
And that's
that
what
was
we love.
insane.
I watched this thing and I was thinking to myself, my God, these two teams are going at each other tooth and nail. How are we going to win this thing? We did it, though, Daryl.
Oh my gosh. I didn't get eyes on it at the beginning. I was at work, but the way it finished and following the group chat, so awesome to see them get revenge on the squad because that was a scary squad. And uh, the way that it happened, of course, Amy Plum, wow. Just and
Steps up
watching
again.
Iowa deflate and hit the ground, and they knew it. Like, this is it. And we're finally on the side, guys, where it's not us being deflated and sent home packing, and they get to stay, and they put out a major team. Like, they sent them home, and wow, just so happy for them. And I think they said, what, this Elite Eight now?
Yes, because there's
Good
only
for them.
16.
After the way they finished the season, and to move on to the Elite Eight and put out a team like Iowa after, I think the first matchup this season, it wasn't really close. The score may have looked like it was close, but it was kind of just out of their reach the whole time. And I think Jared mentioned how much he hates the golden goal overtime.
Yeah.
It's going to be on his grave.
Yeah.
Swear to God, on his tombstone.
I put it in the
That's
article. It's the official stance of Cardinal couple today.
Yeah.
We hate golden goal.
Beloved
and-
father, husband, da-da-da-da-da. Hated golden goal,
Hated
Jared
golden goal.
Anderson.
Yeah. I can't
I
blame
mean,
him.
I would say that's one of his things. So yes, I agree.
But-
And for it to be U of L to come out on the good side of that and get that payback and put them out, just so happy for the squad after the way they finished the season to get a signature win and move on in the tournament. It's just great.
We can't talk too much about revenge and hype it up too much. since
I know.
We are on the wrong side of the revenge.
That ends
effort
today. That combo ends
tomorrow.
today.
Yeah, because tomorrow,
Be a little scary, yeah.
The Northwestern still kind of spouting a little bit about us beating them in the first game of the season.
They wouldn't be bitter about it at all or anything, right?
And they proved
they
that
lost
by
other
winning
games
their
this
next
year?
19 straight.
Oh, no.
right?
No.
It's like, you guys are undefeated, right? Oh, no, you played Louisville early and they beat you.
Yikes.
So, I wouldn't think that Justine Sari is held in great esteem up there in Evanston right now. But if they knew Coach, how could they not love her? Right? Come on, y'all.
She's very passionate.
She is indeed about her team.
Mm-hmm. And hockey.
Yes, as she likes to call it, hockey. She said, we're going to give him a go now. And they go ahead and give him a go. But it was, first of all, Neem Gowan, who had not scored all season and had not scored since she came here from Princeton, got the goal to tie this thing midway through the third quarter. Okay? Was just right there. Tapped it right in. It went to the first overtime. And let's face it, the overtimes, we all hate them and everything. But in the second overtime, we got lucky with Amy Plum, with Minna Tremonti, and all of a sudden just a key tip that went into the net. One team wins, the other team loses. I think, I think Louisville dominated this match. They just couldn't score.
Yeah, this would have been a disappointing one to lose. It's one of the reasons the golden goal is so frustrating. Louisville had as many shots on goal as Iowa had shots in general. Iowa had one shot on goal, and it happened to go in the second quarter. And so if you play that well, that they won that 4 corners to Iowa's 2, when you're winning a game so handily and holding strong possession, and you just can't find a goal, and then you go to overtime and potentially lose immediately just because of a lucky goal, it'd be extremely frustrating. So very good for Louisville to not experience that frustration. Crazy to hold Iowa without a shot for 40 minutes over the remainder of the game after their last shot in the third quarter. and equally impressive by Iowa to not let Louisville shoot for about 20 something, or more than that even, through the fourth quarter, and into overtime. So it was very tight all through the fourth quarter in the tied game, and then gets even tighter obviously when the next goal wins in overtime, and Louisville able to weather the storm. They've played a number of overtime games this season, and it's good. Like Daryl mentioned earlier, the way this team finished the season, Iowa was part of their 4-game losing streak, gave them their first loss of the season at home, and just to be able to recover, win those 2 games against Boston College that may have been what put them in the tournament, and then come back and get a win over a Big Ten team on the road in the cold. You can tell from the interview that they did. All the players look like they're freezing. Coach Sowry has her big puffball toboggan on, and to be able to do that and now get another chance to take on Northwestern, and wouldn't it be something to start and end Northwestern's season with with a win in Evanston?
Yeah, with their only losses.
Only losses, yeah.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't be welcome, up in Evanston or something like that.
Good. We don't want to play there anymore anyway.
Yeah, at least we don't play them in much in anything else. That's good. But occasionally in some other sports, but not very often. But of course, in field hockey, given the nature of the sport and everything, you play the best. And this was on the Big Ten Plus, as we mentioned earlier. I get it. Okay, you're playing at a Big Ten school. The Big Ten school is in the tournament. And there's another Big Ten school playing as well. So why not put it on Big Ten Plus? But good God, could they not come up with an announcing crew that knew the game? This is horrible. In fact, it got so bad, they dropped the girl on the broadcast for the overtime.
Wow.
I don't know if she just said, "Hey, I got to go take a poop. See you later."
Should have go somewhere else.
Yeah, I got this thing. We'll see you later. And so they left the poor guy who even knew less about field hockey than she did there to call the play, the 2 overtimes. And it's like me sitting here trying to explain nuclear fission to you. I would have no clue. Okay. But in any event, Louisville moves on. All 5 ACC teams move on, as we mentioned, into the Grade 8. We get Northwestern up there tomorrow, 2 p.m., which is and Jeff, did I see correctly where you are not going to go to volleyball, to go to basketball instead, and miss a volleyball game?
Half right. I will not be at either of them, actually. I have a work trip that I have to leave for early tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it because it's senior day for volleyball. But I scheduled it myself, so I have no one to blame but myself.
A work trip on a Sunday.
Yeah, it's a conference that starts on Monday, so yeah.
So the folks over at the L&N Federal Credit Union will have no idea what to do with themselves.
How will anyone know to do the cards chant?
Yes.
Shannon Rush has assured me that she's going to lead it, but I don't know if the rest of the crowd will be aware of that and follow along as well, but hopefully.
Yeah, you should have advanced plans for that.
Yeah, I did. I told Shannon last week, 2 weeks ago, maybe even, that I wasn't going to be there. And
if you had tryouts, make sure she's the right one for it.
Yeah, she's the right one for it. She's very enthusiastic. So
I know that you used to have Jasmine Jones come down and join you on it years ago.
Yeah, well, yeah. Shannon is enthusiastic to the point of kind of embarrassing her daughter at times. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, very good. He did make a codicil then. Very good, sir. But, wow, what a match it was. And then after that, you were kind of coming down from the glow of that, and everything was fantastic and stuff like that. It turns out we're getting ready to play Duke and a little bit of volleyball right after that. And Duke was a team that basically kind of looked at this as saying, we think we're a team that can play in the NCAA tournament. We really do.
I think they're close.
Yeah, we've got to be able to show it, though, by putting on a good show against Louisville and maybe winning one or two of these sets, right?
Yeah. Didn't happen.
They didn't win them.
But
Jeff, they played us awfully tough.
They really did. They looked good. The first set was a little lopsided. The other two were fairly close, actually. So, they credit to this team. They've hit the portals in the past. They've been fairly well coached. I think their biggest weak spot that I was able to identify was serve receive and passing. And that shows up in the stats when it's 10-3 in service aces on the stats. So they could use a little work there, but I mean, they're a good team. I don't want to take anything away from them, but Louisville came out and played the game that we knew they're capable of, which is kind of a refrain for me, and got the job done.
One of the players that we don't mention a lot, but is still a very significant player on this team, Charity Looper. Charity Looper had herself a game against Duke.
Yeah, we don't mention her a lot, but a lot of other volleyball people do. She really has. She's come in, and early on, I was a little suspect of her defensive play, but she's tightened that up a lot and is really great quality contributor in all 6 rotations. And I commented on in our group chat last night that Louisville played the first set of the match last night without a substitution at all. 7 players for the whole set. So all of the players went full rotation. Iko Jones in the back row, and Anna DeBeer played much better on her floor defense than she has been recently. She's kind of, good to see her come back to that form. So it was good to see all of the players playing up to their potential all the way around the court, which we've got a lot of that. So it was good to see.
We also got a chance to see Anna DeBeer kind of remind everybody that she was still on the team and still able to do wonderful things. Had a very nice hitting percentage. And also one of the things about Anna is, teams tend to try to, I think, steer away from her when they attack us because they know if it's a chance where she's going to be there, she's got some shots that will make them pay, including her cross-court shot and some of the other things she does. So that's fun. That's good. And well, we win. And now what is it? A 3-way now, Ty, for first place atop the conference?
Yeah, 3-way because just before we played, Pitt and Georgia Tech played, and they finished up right after we started, and Pitt won that one in a fairly easy 3 over not Florida State, Georgia Tech. Pitt won that one pretty easily, so Georgia Tech got knocked out of that 3-way tie, but Florida State, Pitt, and us are still there. We obviously still have to play Pitt in a week or so, and 2 weeks, I guess. So next that'll Saturday. Eliminate that. Is it next Saturday? It is next Saturday. Goodness, it is. Okay, so a week. Glad to be there. So that should be fun. So that'll narrow down that tie a little bit more. Florida State, like we talked about, has a pretty good chance of just kind of skating through with probably their best competition left in the season is Miami, who's I don't think is likely to beat them, but it's possible.
Yeah, they lost the opportunity to beat them at home, so now they'll have to do it on the road, which will be more difficult.
Yep.
Well, best of luck to volleyball as they continue on with their pursuits. And
I will say one thing about Florida State and the potential that they just drop one of these random matches against Miami, North Carolina, or Notre Dame. They lost a set at Syracuse last night.
Oof.
So that's a thing that happened. Syracuse, as a reminder, 0-15 in conference.
They're not good.
2-23 on the season.
Went out for soft drinks, maybe, got held up at the concession stand, couldn't make change. I don't know, something maybe.
Syracuse has won 3 sets in
Ugh,
conference. They
ouch.
took 1 off of Wake Forest, 1 off of Virginia, and now 1 off of Florida State. So
Ouch. That's
yeah.
that is not a good team right now. I hate to speak in a way that sounds a bit disrespectful of another team, but they're just not very good right now. I don't know
Of-
how else to say it.
Of their 23 losses, 20 of them are sweeps.
Yeah.
It's not resume building material, kids. No, it
No.
isn't. So we'll see what happens with that. Moving on, certainly a fun end of the volleyball regular season lined up. Of course, there is no conference tournament in ACC volleyball, so you get what you get at the end of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball, lest we forget, does play again tomorrow. Their second game of the year. And Daryl, they're bringing in our old buddy Dougie, and he's coming in from DePaul.
I have so many random DePaul memories. Some bad, some good, but I'll never forget that one in 2010. I'm pretty sure where the Cards lost by a point
Ugh.
in the postseason.
Yeah.
That one stings. That one that was probably the loss that like catapulted this program to the next level. Because I don't remember the Cards not being a favorite or not excelling in the postseason after that early round loss.
We all have, well, at least you've got a good memory of them. I've got a couple good memories of them. I am a Doug Bruno fan. Yeah, I am a big Doug Bruno fan, and
Yes, he's a fantastic coach.
had some great talks with him, before and after games, and found out that his tie collection that he has,
Epic.
it's a Grateful Dead collection.
Yeah.
Ties that were designed by Jerry Garcia and Jerry Garcia's wife. Now he wears the institutionalized, blue shirts all the time, or the white shirts with the DePaul logo stamped on them, and you expect to see a prisoner number on the back of most of them, but no, it's not. But he does wear a tie with them, and they're Grateful Dead ties. So it just so happened I was at a flea market a few years ago, just kind of walking around, yada-don. It was a dull afternoon. I started looking at ties, and I looked at this really colorful one. I'm like, wow, this is a great-looking tie. I wonder if this is a Garcia tie. So I looked on the back, and it sure was. Well, the person that had it in their booth had no clue, and had it in a bunch of ties for $1 each. Pick out a tie for $1.
Nice.
I picked that son of a bitch out as fast as I could and gave him $1.
We all thought Paul was going to talk about how he, out of the kindness of his heart, told this person how much it was worth and gave them $2 instead of $1. But no.
Nah, not going to happen, Charlie. And so then what I did, though, to show the kindness I was, I told Doug Bruno about it the next time I saw him, and his eyes got wide. He said, "You found a Garcia tie for $1?" I said, "Here's the catch, Doug. I don't wear ties anymore. The last time I wore a tie was, unfortunately, to attend somebody's funeral showing. Okay? I just don't do it. I'd be happy to send it to you. Would you like to have the tie?" His eyes got even wider.
Yeah, imagine.
And so that's what I did. Out of the kindness of my heart, I sent him my Jerry Garcia tie. Now, whether he wears it or not when he's down there tomorrow, I don't know. You don't know. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But we'll chat before the game, and I'll be excited to see him post game. Let's just hope we can beat this team, huh? Come on. Let's just hope we can beat this team.
Yeah, it's early season, so you never know what's going to show up on the court. But, we've got the talent. So
I think we do, and I don't know if they have the center that can maybe compete with Olivia. But I know they've got some very good players around the perimeter of the center. So It should be fun.
Doug Brito have a good shooting team. You don't say.
Yeah,
It's kind of his
geez,
hallmark, right?
And he's been coaching 38 years now, I think, if I read it correctly. Just think about that. That's older than some of you all are.
It's true.
Incredible. And he
Some.
still keeps it.
Yeah.
Keeps coming back year after year. Still does it. Other things we may want to talk about real quickly before we get on out of here. Maybe we should just pay a little due tribute to the fact that it is Veterans Day today. And Case put a nice little article in there about Veterans Day. And I think we all maybe might have some Veterans Day stories we can share. Case, why don't you go ahead and start with yours, and then I'll follow it up, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I'll just kind of reiterate what mine was about my grandfather being a Coast Guard veteran in World War II. Butler always had a very nice Veterans Day program at my high school, and he was always the only Coast Guard veteran attendee because of some weird quirks with how veteran status works or worked. I was really struggling with Googling it today to determine what the rule is now, but at the time was the only Coast Guard representative in all the years that he was there. One of the only World War II veterans in attendance, and they were very thrilled to have him, and we were very proud to have him as our family member and be representing. Butler invited him back in 2006 and 2007 when neither my sister nor I were at the school. They wanted him to be there. They wanted to celebrate him and to be able to have that recognition, and so he was happy to go back. And when I was graduating, he wanted to give a speech and give a brief few remarks about thanking Butler for their hospitality and for caring for him and all the veterans that they do at their program, and letting everyone know that it would be his last one since I was graduating. He didn't want to continue that without one of the family members there in attendance. So it was nice. It was always great to be able to walk with him and have him celebrated and think about him and all the other veterans in my family and in my life that I know regularly. So that's mine.
And I'll just do a couple brief ones. My dad was in the Navy. Was in the Navy for a very, very, very long time. Was in World War II, and was actually, of all places, was in Reykjavik, Iceland, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. They were up there scouting and trying to spy on German submarines when the news came around. So they were sent immediately from Reykjavik, Iceland to Honolulu. How do you get there?
Yeah.
How do you get there, for goodness sakes? Well, you got to go through the Panama Canal. And he claimed to the day he died, well, not to the day he died, but for a long time, that some of the fair-haired boys that were on the boat, due to the climate change from the coldness of Reykjavik to the extreme heat of the Panama Canal, lost all their hair. Bodily hair, facial hair on their head, other places. But only the fair-haired kids did. Whether that's true or not, I have no idea, but he claimed to this day that's what happened. He had darker hair, so it didn't happen to him. My second favorite story is, real quick, and then we'll move on with it, is that they were taking islands one by one in the South Pacific in the war. And he said that sometimes they would get a camera crew on advance to watch the boats come in ashore to a various island if they felt it was safe and they could do that. They said in one instance where they were doing that, the camera crew was out there getting ready to watch them come ashore and stuff like that. And Japanese came streaming out of the woods, laid down their weapons, and surrendered to the camera crew before the boats even got to the base, to the shore. But fun stories, like all our veterans, he was proud of what he did. Would he do it again? Yes, he would. And I certainly agree with him. I would too. What else we got, Daryl? Any interesting Veterans Day stories you can share with us?
I don't have any stories, but I do want to shout out my grandpa for his service. I did just send him a text as well, so hopefully he sees that, and hopefully he's doing something that he likes to do today. It's just one of the hardest jobs there is, and I appreciate anybody who dedicates their life to doing that.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, but it's certainly appreciated. Jeff, anything on your side?
Nothing particularly Veterans Day related. My father did serve in the Army for a period of time. It wasn't career, but he did for several years. He served during the Vietnam War, but got sent to Germany. So, that's nice. He had plenty of stories of his time in the Army and friends that he made there, but nothing particularly outstanding as far as a Veterans Day remembrance would be concerned.
Your dad could tell some great stories.
Yeah, for sure.
But hey, that's already got us to the witching hour here at 12 o'clock. So hope that everybody's enjoyed listening to the show today. And certainly get out and support UofL women's athletics when you can. And hey, you might even run into one of us out there. What do you think about that? Until next week, everybody have a great one and go Cards.